Alright, good afternoon class. This is a review video for week 6, and what we're going to be learning, or what you're going to be learning today, is the property editor. You're going to learn about Elastic, and you're going to learn about layering, and you're going to learn about the particle distance. So let's start off with just this basic dress. And as you can see, it's fairly simple, using the same techniques you've been learning. And I have just added these lines in the front and these lines in the back. And that's simple to do using everything that you've learned so far. Now, you will notice that you see the skin poking through. And that does happen when you add this sometimes, and it's based off the fit. So first thing you want to do is go over here to the property editor, and you're going to make sure you're in transform, and you're going to click on both of your patterns, and you're going to go down here to simulation properties, right down here, and then you're going to go down here to where it says particle distance. It's always going to be millimeter, and right now it's set to 20 millimeter. That's default. So when you hit simulation, then it'll fix it. However, so you don't have to do a lot of tugging and stuff to get it to fit, there's another way to do this. So you're going to go down here, and usually for Second Life, it's better to start off with 10. You got to start off with 10 as the distance. Now, this looks a little weird, but when you simulate it, as you can see, you don't have to really edit it. Now, I've said once before, you don't have to too much worry about the nipples, because this is the reborn body. You can take the nipples off, but if you don't want to, just pull a little bit and it fixes it. Now you start at 10 and you can go up from there, but I would not go over 15, because when you get for particle distance, we're going to go over here to this here. It says textured surface. I'm going to click on that, left click on that once, and you're going to go down to mesh, and we're going to change it. So now we've got it on mesh. So you see it's on 10. If you take it back to 20, you see how the particles become bigger. Now 20 is good for like something basic. It's like if you don't see the nipples and stuff like that, 20 is good. For like a simple t-shirt, that's okay. But if you're doing something that's very intricate, it's better if you do something smaller, like 10. And then you can hit simulate. And so you can see it's dense now. Very dense. So that is, I want y'all to worry about that. The particle distance, I want y'all to practice on that. That's the first thing. Now the next thing that you're going to look into is, see this, how this is kind of pulling a little bit. Well, that's a simple, I'm gonna undo this. I'm gonna delete these lines, and I'll show you what I did. here. It's the same concept that you had before. So you're just going to, add the offset internal along internal curve. Now, what you're going to do is make this perpendicular, make it straight. You can add another line, and then you want these close together. So you can do them closer together, and then you want this to be further up. So you want it up fairly high. And once you're done with that, then you're going to do this. And see, that's where it is. Now I want mine up a little higher, so we're going to go up a little bit. And now that that's done, you want to make sure that these dots are touching the line, because sometimes when you try and make elastic or cut it, it'll say it's not touching. So make sure that it's touching. If you have to zoom in, to make sure now it's all touching. So now you're going to left click, hold down shift so that you can highlight both. And then once you do that, then you're going to go over here to the property editor again. You're going to go down here to elastic, and you're going to put a check mark. And once you do that, then you go over to simulate. And it's going to add an elastic band. And so when you go down here to strength, you can move the strength here. And you should do this while you're in simulation mode. And so when you go down here to ratio, you can do less, you can do more. So more, make it wider, less will shrink it. And it's just based off of your own personal preference. So now, pull that up a little bit. And now you have this cute little Grecian dress. Now, I want to add more elastic. So, we're going to highlight these and go back. Tighten that up some more. See, that looks much better. I'm going to uncheck simulation, and I want to fix this. Bring it up a little higher. Simulate. And then you have a cute little Grecian-like dress. Very simple. So that's the second thing that I want y'all to practice with, is the elastic. Now, the third thing that I want you all to work on is layers. So that's going to be the next thing that we're going to do. So, now I have this cute dress. Let's say I want to put a robe or something over it. Now, in order to do that, the very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go into the transform. You're going to highlight this part of the dress. And you're going to go over to the 3D side, right click, and you're going to go up here to freeze again. You guys learn this with the ruffles. You're going to freeze the entire thing. Then you're going to move your first one over here, and then you can freely create something new. So We're going to go easy mode here, and we're going to do a cute little, just a little throw to go over it. And this is just as an example, so it's not going to be perfect. So make sure you make the armholes. Once you've done that, unfold. Got this. Matter of fact, let's undo that. Because we're going to, in this case, when you're making a jacket or like a throw or something to just drape over the shoulders, I'm going to copy, paste. And yes, we will get into making jackets later on. But for right now, I don't want you to really worry about this. This is just me showing you an example. Then you're going to copy. And then we're going to paste. This is going to be the back half. Now do your usual steps, but this time for the back it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to unfold and move this. So now we're going to have a front and a back. Left and right, the usual suspects. Now that that is done, come out of sewing and then you're going to hit simulate. So now that we've done that, so we've got this little throw, and it's sitting on top of the garment. So we're going to make this a little bit longer. Not too long. Simulate. And we'll move this a little bit so that it can cover the breast. You don't have to do all this extra stuff when making for men because they have the pecs don't necessarily have the breasts and stuff, so you won't have to worry about this. Making it bigger. But for the women, you want to make it bigger so that it will cover your breasts. Now that we've done that, you see how it's going in, side. Now when I simulate this, it's not going to go inside because it's frozen. However, when we go over here down to simulation properties, right below particle distance is layer. Now, since we made the dress first, you're going to go over here to the dress, highlight that. That's on layer 0. You want to keep that either on layer 0 or layer 1. What I like to do is put it on layer 1, but that's up to you. Now, I'm going to show you what happens when you unfreeze something that's supposed to be below. So when you unfreeze it and you simulate it, this is what's going to happen. You don't want that. So what you're going to do, if you want to leave it on layer 1, you can, but this means that the throw needs to be on layer 2, sometimes layer 3. Layer 3 is better because we're going to change the thickness of this. So when you hit simulate, now this is on layer 3, and so now it's sitting perfectly on top. You may have to kind of move it around a little bit here and there, but it's layered over it, and this is how you make layers. It's not as, hard as you might think, but this is how you do your layers. The first layer, you have to freeze that, and you make your second layer, and then you unfreeze it, simulate it. You may have to modify it, move it a little bit, adjust it, per normal, but they're layers. Let's see, I have to move this out. It didn't look like I needed to, but I do, because it's clashing. So you have to adjust. You don't really have to worry too much about this. We'll get more into this when it's time to start rigging, but this is the concept. Now, the next thing that you're going to learn is all these tools here. The next thing you're learning is the shrinkage. Now, the shrinkage is about the fit. So when we get to the fit, so right now, this is fitting nicely. Okay, but if you want more of a form fit, then you can change this. Go down to 90. And you don't have to do the same on the top and the bottom. You can do different. So now you see that this is a little more fitted. This is good for like tights and underwear and leotards, things like that, panties, bras, that type of thing. But it's also good if you just want something that look more fitted. Then you can use this. So experiment with that. Now, the next thing is we're going to talk about is the thickness, the collision, and the rendering. So your thickness, we're going to go back to the jacket or throw. See how it's thin? The first thing that you're going to learn, you're going to go up here and you're going to go down, you're going to click on that, and the first thing you'll see is thickness. So you're going to change the thickness. That's going to make this double-sided. So you won't see the alpha part. That's how you start off with the thickness. Then you go over here, it says add thickness. You gotta be careful with this. So it's at 2.5 now, so let's do 5.0. And that adds more thickness. This works with like sweaters and just jackets and anything else that you want to add thickness to. This what adds it. And then you're gonna do 2.5 on the bottom, if that's the way you want to do it. And as you can see, if I zoom in, this added a little bit of thickness to it, which I would encourage you guys to kind of look into with most of your clothing. So now if I go up to match the same thickness on the top, it's going to add more thickness. So you see now it looks a little better, but you can keep going. You can do 8 point. It just depends on how much you want to add. But keep in mind with your particle distance, because remember, you want to watch out for that particle distance. So see, it's at 20 right now. We're going to go from the back, and we're going to go back up here, and we're going to check the mesh. You see how at 20 it's much wider, but if you change it to 10, you're going to be able to get more detail. So I want you to experiment with this column here, and I want you to experiment with this elastic. And the very last thing that we're going to cover today is fabric, because I know you all have been asking about fabric. Well, it is time. So you've got your garment the way you like it. It's nice and thick, but you want to see how it looks with fabric on it. So this is very easy. You're going to go up here and click on fabric. Double click on fabric. Now this program comes preset with different types of fabrics. So you're just going to kind of go down and look for a fabric. So we're going to choose knit, and we're going to choose knit for the dress. So now we have a knit fabric, but this looks like velvet. Okay, so we're going to go back over here as soon as the program decides it wants to work. Okay, so go back over here, and it's green. We don't like green, so you're just going to go back down again, property editor, and when you get to that, you're going to left click on this, and it'll take you to property editor, and you're going to see all of this. So I want you all to work in materials. Don't worry about any of this stuff. You're going to look in materials, and you're going to go down here, texture, and you're going to concentrate on color and opacity. So when you go to color, you're going to click on here, and we're going to choose purple. Okay, so that's, well, let's fix this, because this needs to be on a different layer. So now we have assigned a new layer. I've taught y'all that before. So you highlight them both, right click, and you assign it a new fabric, and it'll give you a new layer. It's on the same layer, but it'll be a different fabric. So now we can delete that, and you can rename this. right click and rename dress. So now we go back and we can put the fabric here and it'll color the whole thing. But we don't like that. We want a different color. So we're going to go up here, and this is in the materials tab. You're going to go to texture, click, not there. I don't want you to worry about that. I'm going to click on that. Sometimes it gives you trouble. So it's a velvet. I want to change the color of it. So sometimes you can do it this way too. You can also reset it if you don't like that, and you can change the color. I've showed y'all how to do this before, but you can also go here if you still wanted that same velvet, and you can just add your own color and make it velvet. But what you can also do is you can do reset, and you can go this route. So you can go up here and you can go to this tab here, and this is the fabric tab. You're going to put your cursor over that, go down to this one where it says graphic 2D pattern, left click. This is where it's going to take you to wherever you have your fabrics. So that means that you all need to start looking at downloading your own fabrics. So we're just going to go here, and then you're going to pick one. Going to open, and it's going to ask you to put a box in. So you're going to put a box, and you're going to make it as big as you want. So just worry about width. You can do the width, make that bigger, or you can just hit OK. And then you can go back up here and give it a minute. And you see it, put it there, but you can go back here and you can edit it. So now you can go, once you put it on there, you go to transform graphic and you can edit it. I just left click on it once. And you make it bigger. And so this, and then once you do that, you can kind of move it around a little bit. But all I want you to do is worry about that. So you see you have it on the garment here. Sometimes you gotta, sometimes it wants to work, sometimes it doesn't. But I want you to play with it. So just play with putting it on here. I don't play with this pattern a lot, or this tool a lot, because you don't want to have any type of texture or fabric on your garment in Marvelous Designer, because we're going to work on all that in Substance Painter in a couple of weeks. But if you want to, you can play around with it. But I would not recommend getting too attached to this because it's finicky. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So if you want to play around with it, you can, but you don't have to. All I want you to worry about is the Materials tab. You can play with the color here, and then you can add fabric. If you add a white fabric, then you can texture it, and then what it does is when you add a fabric and you hit simulate, it's going to mimic the fabric that you added. So I'm going to add this green over it. And anytime you do something new and you have your simulation on, turn it off because it'll cause you to lag. And if you don't, it'll automatically turn it off for you. But it moves your stuff slower. So, see, as you can see, it's heavy and starting to look a little more like velvet. So this is all I want you guys to work on. I want you to get familiar with the Materials tab. And then I want you to get familiar with the property editor, specifically your elastic and your simulation properties. Your particle distance, your layers, your shrinking, and your thickness. So I just want you to worry about that. As always, if you get stuck, take a break, go back a step, have fun, and let me know if you have any questions.